Hello everyone, this is Lori Mueller coming to you on Sunday for another session of Sunday Stampin' Dreams, and it is a beautiful day today. So the weather is down in the low 80s and the sun is shining, and I am ready to stamp with everyone. So I was away last weekend because I held my 7th annual Stamp and Scrapbook The Longest Day for Alzheimer's. It was a fundraiser retreat, and I had 43 wonderful crafters with me, and we just always have a lot of fun. I've got some regulars that have hit almost every single year. Hi, Mary Ellen. Hi, Chris. And it was the same. There were belly laughs. There were, laughs where there were tears. Hi, Carol. And it was just so amazing to be with other crafters and to see what they're all doing. And hi, Dawn. And I have a mix of scrapbookers, card makers, and then I had one, she's a team member of mine that joined, who did some pastel painting. And oh my gosh, I think her craft was the hit of the whole weekend because it was just amazing to see it all come to life for the image that she had colored or painted. It was with pastels, but we called it painting. But it was so much fun. And we raised some great funds for a wonderful cause because Alzheimer's and dementia is really striking hard, and it's hitting home with a lot of family members, friends, co-workers. It's something that steals us from our wonderful memories that we've made over the years. And it is really sad to see the transition from the onset of that diagnosis to the very, very end. I started with Alzheimer's because I had a colleague who was diagnosed. He had retired, and within 3 years had passed away from Alzheimer's. And then it's just transgressed from, I have two very dear friends whose moms are going through, well, one has passed away since in the last, I think 9 months ago, she passed away. And the other one, her mom is slowly declining even worse. So, and it's just hitting home because family members and other friends, it's horrible, horrible, horrible. So I am with you today, wanting to pick back up where I left off from our last Sunday Stampin' Dreams. I'm in Lincoln, Nebraska, Stampin' Up! Demonstrator who loves to paper craft, stamp, and share with everyone. So if you would be so kind to share and like or give hearts, I would be so appreciative. But I am here for a couple of announcements as well. The next catalog, the July through December catalog, is going to be going live July 1st. So I'm almost done getting my mailing ready. I had a couple of delays, one with the fundraiser, and then I had a funeral that popped up that I traveled for 3 days. It took some time getting there, spent a day, and then the next day came back. So and then on my way home, my father had called and said that my aunt had passed away. So that is 3 funerals in my family in the last 3 months. And then I threw in this funeral of a very dear old friend. So that's 4 now. I have to be done, right? Isn't that motto saying 3 and you're done? So it's just been crazy, crazy, crazy. So I want to let you know that the last chance list for the current January through June catalog If you don't get the items that are available in that catalog soon, there won't be an opportunity to get them. So one of the bundles that I'm using today, the Hello Beautiful, is bundled at a 10%. Now this one has carried over into the current catalog, but it's no longer set up as a 10% discount on the bundle. So I think on that note, we are ready to flip on over. Hi Phyllis, so good to see you. All right, so let's get set up here, and I hope everyone's doing well. Hi Linda, so good to see you. All right, so the two stamp sets that I'm featuring today are the Hello Beautiful, and I'm going to use these two images right here to create my background, and then I'm going to use this sentiment, and I'm creating a 4th of July card, and this, I'm using this as a celebratory, exciting news, whether it's a new pregnancy or retirement, or somebody is going on a trip that they've been saving up for, however that works out. But this sentiment set is really cool because you have bolder words or fonts within each sentiment, along with some scripting, which can lend to coloring with your markers, or using our different colors of embossing powders, and using them on you can stamp directly onto designer series paper or a background that you have made, or just as a cutout. You can stamp it onto die cuts and then pop it up onto the front of your card as well. So there's lots of ways to use that, because like the stitched rectangles, or the speckle, or not speckle, the oh my gosh, the new rectangles. I got speckled on my mind for some reason, but or our circle dies will work for that one, or just strips of cardstock you can use as well. But I'm going to use this. Now, when I mentioned that the bundle, the Hello Beautiful bundle, this is available in the current January through June catalog as a bundle. Right here, you're going to want to use that item number to get the 10% discount, because this set and the dies did shift on over to the current catalog, but they're no longer set up as a bundle. So if you want the bundle price, you have to use the item number in this mini catalog. All right, and so I'm not using the dies today. I am using these two images from this stamp set, and then this sentiment right there. So to share with you what I have done, this is on your basic white thick cardstock, and I'm just doing a real simple card that I stamped directly onto the card base, and then I just inked up the sentiment and planted it over top, so you get a nice vision of the background. And then I used my the Memento black ink, and when I stamped this, I used my Stamparatus, and the reason I did that is because these fonts are thicker and can have the tendency, if I don't ink up that sentiment well enough, that it'll have some, maybe a small area that's lighter or splotchy or whatever. So I used my Stamparatus and positioned my sentiment so that way when I ink it the first time, if I did not like that or was not happy that it wasn't fully covered, I can ink up that area and then stamp again. And so that's what I did with this one. I actually inked it up a second time full, so that way you get a nice bold sentiment that shows through the background that I have created. Because it is kind of a bold background. 4th of July is what I'm featuring, red, white, and blue. And then what I had done for the next level is that I did it in Versamark. So I inked it with Versamark using the Stamparatus again. So I inked it with Versamark and then stamped, and then I actually inked it again to get a heavier load of the Versamark in that area. And then I covered it with the black embossing powder. And so you see a little bit of the shimmer. And then I brought in some of these sparkle and shine sequins. There's stars, there's little silver discs, and then there's some iridescent sequences in there as well. But I didn't use those because I'm trying to stay with the red, white, and blue 4th of July. So that's the stepped up version that I have created. Now my creation that we're going to do today, I'm going to add actually a little bit of the Gilded Leafing. So I'm going to bring in a little bit of gold throughout this area and still do the sentiment on directly to. So everything's going to be directly to the card front. Kind of showing a little bit of variance on how little to, a little bit more, and then replacing the stars and sequins with some gilded leafing. So we'll see how that turns out because I don't have a sample of what it looks like. So all I have to work with is our 5.5 by 8.5 piece of thick basic white cardstock. I don't have any other layers, so that's my measurements, is 5.5 by 8.5, and then I scored it at 4 1/4. Now I'm not gonna go ahead and I've scored it, but I'm not gonna fold and burnish it because I don't want the heavy. If you and I'll show you the difference. So what I had done with this one is I did actually fold and burnish my card. And then I came back in with a piece of paper like this to try and, mask off. But it left such a big bump. You see that little void right there? It left a bump in there. So I want to avoid doing that. Then with this one, I had remembered I had purchased our new masking paper. And this masking paper you can use multiple times, and basically what it is a strip of like a Post-it note, basically. You can cut it into whatever lengths you want, and you can use it multiple times. Now, the one thing I do recommend is when you go to use it for the very first time, it'll be very, very tacky. So I recommend that you either touch it against, your skin or on your fabric, like your jeans or your shirt or something, to kind of reduce a little bit of the tackiness. Because when even though you're going to be super careful picking that up from your cardstock, it can tend to be really snug and want to pull up your cardstock. But once you've used this once or twice, then you don't have to worry about that. But it's the initial use that you want to kind of reduce a little bit of the tackiness. But we will be using that here shortly. And then you see that it gave me a lot cleaner edging of the masking for that area. So, all right. So let's bring in my piece, and I'm going to go ahead and add, I could just use the same side, and then that way I know where I'm marking. And I'm going to kind of go over a little bit of the score mark so that I have a nice clean mark, because once you fold what I'm trying to say here. So when you fold it, you're going to have a nice solid color on the one side and not on the other, a portion of it on the other side. All right, so we are going to create our backgrounds, and I've got Night of Navy and I have Real Red, and I'm bringing in these two images right here. And you can kind of see, you know, where the red is kind of stained, and you can see a little bit of the Night of Navy. So I'm going to open these up, and we're going to add the ink with our daubers. And the reason I'm doing daubers is because it doesn't give it as bold of a look as if you were directly inking your images from the ink pad. So we're going to bring in, and then I need to make certain I use the right dauber. And I like to label my daubers. I don't wash them out and, you know, use them with all the blues or all the pinks and reds or whatever. I have a dauber for each one of my colors, and then I just label it. I just put a piece of tape on there, and we're going to bring in and add some ink to our image. And you can add as much or as little, and I want to get rid of that line in there. Okay, now I'm going to bring in some red, and I might bring in a little bit more blue so that I have kind of an equal distribution of the color. There we go. There we go. We're gonna, and then this stamps just like you would if it was inked up with your ink pad, and you can huff on it if you like. And let's see, we're gonna go about right there and give it a nice good press. And then I like to peel it away. I feel like the ink sticks to it a little bit better that way. All right, now we're going to keep inking this up each time. And then as the ink is on here, you tend to not have to add as much because there's still a residual from the previous stamped portion of it. And now I'm going to show you how this masking works. So we'll go ahead and I'll just kind of copy over what I did before. And then I'd like to peel that off. Yay! Now there may be a little bit of a void right there, but you know, that is what it is. All right, so we're going to go to this image and add ink just like we did the other image. So I hope everyone is doing well, staying cool in whatever location you're in. I know that there were a large number of storms throughout Nebraska and other states. So I'm hoping everyone is safe from that. Yeah, we've had lots, oh my gosh, it seemed like we had hail almost every night for like 4 nights in a row. It's crazy, which is not good for the farmers because they are trying to, let's see, how did I do this? Here we go. Now, what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to pick up my cardstock and I'm going to kind of massage it along the line area right there. There we go. That worked well. Because that way I have a better solid line after inking this up. All right, I'm gonna try and stamp this as many times as I can in the various areas. And let's see, we'll put this one underneath here because I'm gonna stamp off. Hi, Pam, so good to see you. And there we go. All right, so let's do, oh, and that's the other thing. So you see where I stamped off the paper, and see how this is a bolder because there's nothing that the ink landed on, and there's going to be a line right there. So what I like to do is try and do that to erase that line, because I didn't know if it would transfer over to the next time that I stamped it. So I wanted a fresh, make certain it was fresh and no lines or residuals from the previous time that I stamped it. And that was only because that portion hung off of my paper right here. So, all right, looks good. Now we'll go into here. Get a lot of these done. Like that. So how many people have daubers? Do you have a dauber in your stamping stash? I know I don't bring my daubers out enough, and I thought that I saw my box of daubers and I thought, okay, it's time to start pulling those out again and see what I can craft with them. Here we go. Because they kind of get lost, or not really lost, but left behind, I should say. All right, so let's pull out this one again and start filling in some of the spaces with this little guy. I mean, I used to do a lot of the swishing off the edge, you know, giving a little bit of color on the edges to kind of give it that vintage look. And I haven't, that's another thing I haven't done in a really long time. All right, so I'm gonna go off the page here and go like that. And I want to give a little bit of pressure on the edging, just so that I know that I'm going to get a solid line off the edge right there. All right, well, and see, I've got my line again, so I'm going to kind of swish that out of there. So it doesn't, because I have a feeling it would transfer to the next time that I stamp it. And then the same with the blue. Or Night of Navy, I should give it by its name, Night of Navy. Oh, and that's the other thing, we had birthdays. My daughter's birthday was in between my travels of funeral and being with friends. She's going to celebrate her last year in the 20s. It's so hard to believe that she is that old. Oh, that just means I'm old, very old. All right, so we'll do one more with this one. So that was always good. Did a quick pizza run, made it easy because I had just gotten back into town, and trying to get everybody together is kind of difficult during the week sometimes, but we've never missed a family gathering to celebrate our birthdays, and we weren't going to have a first time, so it worked out really well. All right, there we go. So a couple more with this one. Now this is a card that, you know, this technique, you know, you probably aren't going to do in bulk, and but the color combination is totally up to whatever your occasion is. So let's say you're doing a birthday party, or you're doing a baby shower. How cute would this be for making a baby card? You know, you could use whatever colors that they may have implemented into their baby room. There we go, off that. And then I'm going to use red on red. Oh, I got to pay attention here. And we'll go ahead and add a little bit here, because I don't need the whole thing inked up, because I'm going to kind of fill in this corner down here. We'll go right there. There we go. But yeah, if there is graduation, you know, the school colors you could use. Perfect. And then I want to throw in a little bit of this image. Get rid of that line right there. And see if I can sneak in a little bit of red. Let's see. Go like that. That way we don't have too much of a void. Perfect. All right, so here is our background. But like I said, yeah, this is a technique that you're not going to want to do in bulk, because it will take a while, unless you're sitting in front of the TV and, you know, just doing all your backgrounds. That won't take any thought process. All right, so I'm going to carefully pick up my masking paper, because I don't want to have it pull up my cardstock. But like I said, you can use this strip, you know, whatever you create, you can use your strip multiple times, because it stays pretty tacky for quite a while. All right, so now we'll fold and burnish. And then we're going to add our sentiment. All right, so, see, it worked out pretty good, pretty clean. All right, now I'm going to bring in my Stamparatus, and I'm going to go ahead and emboss this one again with black, but I'm going to use Versamark. So I'm going to bring in all my magnets so that it stays put where I want it to stay, and just make certain my magnets aren't in the way. I can move this down a smidgen. Perfect. All right, and I like to put a little bit of support under this side and bring in the Versamark, and I'm going to ink it up really well. Now, even though I think I ink it up really well, I'm going to stamp it a second time. So I'm going to give it some nice pressure, like that, and then I'm going to ink it up again and stamp onto my base again, just so I get a nice coat of Versamark that's going to suck up all the black embossing powder that I'm going to... Oh, and then I forgot to use my embossing buddy. And it's sitting right here. It's like, I do that so many times. All right, so let's see if I can make a clean... I'm going to set that aside. And we'll bring in our black and see if I can make this clean and not... And I'm going to be liberal because I don't want to be shy on my powder. We'll just go... Oh, yep. There's my... Okay, not too bad. And then I'm going to use, I see in the circle here, there's a couple of hair. All right. Oh, and I see a little bit here. Now, if I hadn't used my embossing buddy like I was supposed to, I wouldn't be worried about this part. But it's just that wherever this black is landing, it's going to get warmed up by my heat tool, and then it'll show off. All right, so we'll warm up my heat tool. There we go. All right, now we're gonna watch the magic. And this thick part is gonna take a little bit because there's a lot of embossing powder there. Now the I'm Just is gonna go really fast because it's a very thin font. All right, and then I'm going to come in from the back just to give it a little pop, to bring some of that embossing powder back to the front. You can see that my H, there we go. All right, and there we have that part. Yay. So next up is I'm gonna let this cool. Ooh, that's warm. And I'm going to bring in my Versamark, and we did the Gilded Leafing last time. Remember using tweezers and Versamark, and then you cover it with the heat and stick, which I will bring over here. So you're gonna Versamark this image. Well, this is the image I'm using, and then I'm gonna cover it with heat and stick, and this time I'm going to remember to cover this with my embossing buddy to reduce all the static. There we go. I should have done that the first time around. All right, so let's add a little bit of gold flare. All right, now this one is, I haven't made this one yet, so we'll see how it goes. All right, so I'm gonna add one there. I'm gonna add one there. And I have to kind of pay attention to where I am adding my Versamark area. And we'll go right there. Because the Versamark is so clear that it's hard to see on this. Right there. And so I'm just kind of working my way down. And then I have a feeling I need one right here in this corner. Like that. Maybe we'll put one right up in here. All right, so we've got that. Now I'm gonna cover it with my heat and stick powder. And again, I'm gonna be very liberal. And it almost acts like sugar, like a fine sugar or sand. It's like a fine sand. You can kind of see how it's sticking. All right, add that. Oh, it's actually sticking better going this way. All right, and I think I'll add a little more there because you want to be liberal. Don't want to be shy. All right. Oh, that's looking good. All right, so set those aside. Now we're going to heat this. Again, and all these areas are going to be tacky. And that's so that it'll hang on to the Gilded Leafing. I'm going to try and stay away from the sentiment, the heatness of it. Perfect. All right. Now, this Gilded Leafing is a very delicate thing, so you want to make certain that, oh, I got embossing powder all over my fingers. So I'm going to Try and find some bigger, ooh, nice big sheets, and go across. And then I can transfer this to wherever I have that heat and stick, because that's the whole purpose, is to make this stick. And if I can use my tweezers correctly, keep them pinched when I go to grab a piece of this. All right, is that, there we go. Oh, this is gonna be so pretty. It just adds another element of wow when you use this stuff. And I'm gonna, there we go. Maybe I can, oh yeah, use my fingers. It's going faster than trying to coordinate with tweezers. Get this piece. See how it just sticks? I can use my tweezers to kind of pick up. Oop. There we go. I know I have a piece over there. You can kind of see the portion that got hit with the gun. You can see the image underneath the gold flakes. There we go. And you know, if these end up being little pieces, they still work the same. Just take a bunch of your, like this piece right here, I'll just find a spot where it's gonna stick, because no matter where it is, it'll stick to the heat and stick only. Like that, I'll just take it from here and move it to the areas that, oh. And it's very staticky. So if you have allergies or you know, a sneeze coming on, I highly recommend that you, you know, move away from it really fast, because otherwise this stuff will go flying and you're gonna have a room full of gold. Let's see, oh, I feel a tackiness right there. There we go. Oh, tackiness right there. Oh, I think, did I get it all? I think I've got them all. Oh, no, that one needs a little bit. Right there. And I'm just feeling around for any other areas that have that. Okay, I think. See if I can. All right, now I'm going to cover this up and I'm going to grab a paper towel here, and now I'm going to kind of rough it up. Now, if you have a different kind of a catcher, you know, maybe a plain piece of paper, copy paper, you can reuse these flakes. And I'm kind of being rough so that anything that is not tacked down with the heat and stick, it'll come off and leave the rest of it behind. my gosh, this is going to be so cool. And so this is going to be a replacement. Is there, no? To the stars. Okay. Oh, look at all those flakes come off of there. Isn't that cool? Oh my gosh, so neat. And then if you found spots that you wanted to add, you can always come back and add another area. You know, stamp the Versamark, add your heat and stick, and then you can add more or add the gold flaking to it. Okay. Ah, beautiful. And then set that aside, and I can collect those flakes later. Oh my gosh. And so you're gonna have a little bit of gold and then all my coloring from my daubers, but oh my gosh, isn't that pretty? So if I wanted, I could add some stars instead of, I'm not gonna bring in the silver little sequences, but I'm going to bring in my fine tip glue pen, and I'm gonna add some stars around here. So we'll just add, you don't need a whole lot of this glue, and I'm going to, oop, that one burped. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, let's try 5. And you want to put your needle back into your glue pen right away so that you're not, so it doesn't dry out and then you can't get the needle in there. All right, so let's see if I can get some of these stars into my lid, and we'll just drop them down onto the little dollop of glue that I've put in. That, and then the big burp right here, and then a big dollop. So if I don't press it, I should be good. Oh, you could even go with a few more stars. You could add as much or as little as you wanted. We'll go with that for now. But oh my gosh. So I think that kind of calls it for the day for our stamping. So we have your basic, you know, there's no dimension, no texture. It's just straight onto your card base. Then we have the next level that I have brought in some embossing and then added a little bit more of the sequins. The now I can't remember what they're called. They're the Sparkle and Shine Sequins Assortment. They are in the main catalog. And then add a little bit more oomph and add some gold, the Gilded Leafing onto this area, and then added some stars. Now, like I said, you could always add, I could add a little more stars on here. Maybe even, I don't know, maybe some rhinestones even, you know, give it a little bit of silver look. But so yeah, here we go. They're all one layer, and which is not something that I do very often. But I'm going to show off another version, the next stepped up version from this on my Facebook page tomorrow. But I want to kind of give it a little bit more dimension and pop and go one more step. So I've kind of gone 3 steps here, but I'm going to throw in a 4th one that I'll share with everyone. So I hope you enjoyed that one. Super fun. And we'll go ahead and flip on over. And so Linda, I hope this encourages you to try out the Gilded Leafing. It is really fun. Like I said, if you have hay fever or allergies and you have a lot of sneezing going on, you want to make certain that, wearing a mask would help, because the Gilded Leafing, it'll fly and it'll be all over your workspace. But it is so easy, very fun to use, and it just adds that extra wow factor to it. So I hope that this has inspired you to give it a try. And you can do it on to some of our designer papers that don't have big patterns. You can add a little bit of wow and that extra factor to your project. So, hi Brene, hey Pamela. So I hope you enjoyed this project today. And like I said, I'm going to have a 4th version of this, but it's going to be for the advanced crafter, that I'm going to have some layers and some die cuts, but it's going to be focusing on the same idea as these 3 that I have done. So anyway, watch for that tomorrow, and I hope that you have enjoyed the Hello Beautiful set. Like I said, it's no longer a bundle price in the current catalog, the annual catalog. You'll get the bundle price out of the January through June mini catalog, and it's only while supplies last. That catalog ends on June 30th, so you want to make certain that you don't miss out. And anybody that's wanting a mini catalog for the July through December, if you have purchased from me in the last 12 months, your name is already on the list. But if you don't have a current demonstrator, I would love to earn your business and send you a catalog. So send me a shout out, a PM with your name and your address, and I will make certain to add you to the mailing list. So, but until then, I hope that you've enjoyed the project and that you have a great rest of your Sunday afternoon. I am very, very appreciative that you spend part of your afternoon with me, and I always look forward to seeing everyone in the next Sunday. So I will be here next Sunday, and I will have a brand new project for you. So until then, keep stamping your dreams and sharing the love with others. So have a great one, and we'll see you later. Bye, everyone.